Letitia, it's been a long time. I have something I'd like to ask you, so I'm wondering if now's an okay time?
Hmm? Oh, well, if it isn't my little sister Blanca. The one that had her boyfriend stolen by me back in college and then ran back home to her parents crying and then ran off to never come back to us for 7 years. I remember you.
Hmm? I understand that I've not come home for a very long time now, but I've still kept in touch with Mom and Dad. And the only reason I moved out of the house back then is because I was already planning on living on my own. And what you did to me was just going on at the same time.
Hmm?
And as for that man you said you stole from me, he wasn't my boyfriend anymore, and we had already cut ties to one another before you started to date him.
Huh?
I told you time and time again to never go out with that man because he was bad news. But you never listened to me and kept saying that I was trying to keep him to myself and that you were so glad you were able to get him from me.
Huh?
Stop trying to act like you never heard any of that from me. I was never planning on going back out with that man, and the reason for that was pretty clear to me, and I'm sure clear to you now as well.
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember how you were only ever able to go out with him on Fridays? Well, that's because you were only his Friday girl.
What the heck is a Friday girl?
You don't know? There's 5 days during the week, before the weekend, Monday through Friday. And he happened to have a girl for every day of the week that he'd go out with. And he'd do that every week, going back to his Monday girl when the week started again.
What?
Sorry, we got a little off topic there. Now, Letitia. Right now, you're with my husband, Aaron, right?
Huh?
Coming over to my place to make out with him in my bed is absolutely gross, so I'd like for the two of you to stop that right now.
So you found out, huh?
Well, you got that one right.
Well, I guess that sucks, but at least now I don't really need to explain much. But unlike last time, this time I'm actually going to be stealing your man from you, and I'm not going to let him get away from me after. However, what makes this time even more different is that Aaron is married to you.
Well, you're right about that as well.
And one other thing. Just one other thing. I have something to tell you regarding me being with your husband now, and it's the perfect time for this.
What?
I'm pregnant with Aaron's baby.
Huh?
I think the day that he and I first got together was the day he got me pregnant, since we didn't have any protection then. But I'm sure that's a shock to you, since for the longest time now you've been trying for a baby, yet never got pregnant. So I'm sorry that I'll be the one carrying his kid now. I'm saying that I'm sorry that on our first try, we were able to make a baby together and didn't even have to try. And it seems that Aaron has been wanting a baby for so long now, right? Well, I don't think he'll ever be happy with a defect like you, so I'll be getting married to him now.
So this is how you learned about us having trouble making a baby? I see. Well, he and I have been talking to one another for a little while now about getting a divorce and all that comes with it.
Really?
Every single day, he'd blame me for being the reason I could never get pregnant, and it has started to really wear me down a bit. And recently, I just don't feel like being his wife anymore.
What the heck is up with that?
Well, this is all great news for you two. Congrats on getting pregnant with him.
Huh? Are you kidding me right now? You have no right being happy about us right now. I'm the one that's won, and you should not be happy about any of that.
And if that's what you want to think, then go right ahead and keep thinking that you've won. But be aware that I will be getting a settlement from the two of you, so don't dilly-dally on that.
Sure, whatever. It seems to me that Aaron is going to be paying for me as well, so you can ask for however much money you'd like from us. I mean, the guy's making around $1 million a year, so he's got the money to pay you off.
I see. So that's why you ended up wanting to steal him from me then.
Blanca, I'm sure you've already heard about us from your older sister, but everything she said was right. I've become a dad now, and I need to be responsible for the baby. And not just that, but I've also fallen in love with Letitia now. So there's nothing more you can do to get me to stay with you.
Hold on a second. I understand that we've been married for 3 years now, and you and I have been unsuccessful at having a baby together. But remember that just a little while before, you and I went in and took a fertility test at the clinic nearby? Right now, we're waiting on the results of that test, right? So what are we going to do about that?
Well, about that. As you can see, me getting your sister pregnant pretty much means that I'm not the one with the problem, so I guess it means you're the unlucky one in all of this, so sorry.
Are you really sure that you getting her pregnant is the right thing to base the answer off of?
I have a very good reason to doubt me being the one that's infertile. So I think I'll stick with the answer being that you're the one with the issues.
Is that so? All right then. But when I get the results from those tests, you don't need to hear about them from me, right? I'm okay to keep that all to myself?
Well, I already know that I'm not the one with the problems, so I don't care to listen to you tell me that you are infertile. And besides, I'm going to be the one paying you for a settlement anyway for being with your sister now, so you can go ahead and just stop talking to me from now on. I've already been given the okay from your parents, so I don't need to hear from you later that you want me back.
I'm sure that my parents aren't okay with what's going on here. Rather, they don't want your kid growing up in a messed up family without a father, so they're letting you stay with her for the baby's sake.
Well, what difference does that make? All that really matters to me now is if that baby is going to be a boy or a girl, and I can't wait to find out.
I see. Well, I'm going to ask for a lawyer to help with the divorce papers and the settlement, so you can wait to hear things from them and handle things.
Sounds good. I'll be waiting.
Blanca! Thank you so much for getting divorced from Aaron. So now, starting today, he is officially my man and nobody can touch him. I'm sure you've already gotten the money from him, right? Well, if you have, that means we can stop talking about all of this now.
I feel as though there might still be things to talk about later, but who cares, right? By the way, I'm pretty surprised to have learned this, but when you were with Aaron, you had a fiancé yourself, right?
I'm sure I did have one, but he was only making around $80,000 a year. That obviously wasn't enough to afford me for the long haul, and seeing a man before my eyes who's making $1 million a year, well, I couldn't just sit around and let him get away. So that's why I jumped on him.
I can't believe what I'm hearing, but I want to know if Aaron had to pay that guy off as well for you.
Well, of course he has. But Aaron has the money to pay him, so I don't mind. And to be honest, if Aaron wasn't going to offer to pay for me during times like these, I'd leave him in a heartbeat.
You seriously only care about people's money, huh?
Don't feel so jealous about me getting to have him now, okay? It's only fair considering I'm the one with the better butt, and I have to say that my waist has slimmed down quite a bit. If it wasn't for those two things, I'm sure your little pencil body could have kept him on your leash. By the way, we're planning to hand in our marriage papers this week. And thank you again for divorcing him before my belly started to get really large with his baby.
Oh, wow, really? That's so great.
Blanca, I'm finally at my final month of the pregnancy.
Is that so? Well, I'm pretty busy now, so I'll talk to you another time.
Wait! I can see that you may want to act all okay about what's happening here, but I can tell you're hurting from all this news.
No, I'm over being upset about what's happened, Letitia.
You're really going to keep trying to act all tough in front of me?
I have to leave my house soon.
Slow down for just a little bit longer. I have just a bit more that I'd like to talk about. I get that you might want to get out and get back to whatever work or hobby you're up to, but you're still a single woman with no man to look forward to, so all that work and time you have to get to is for nothing.
I'm serious about not having the time right now. I'm going to be late for the plans I have to pick someone up.
Oh? You have to get there to see them that badly? Who is it?
My boyfriend.
Huh?
Bye-bye.
You already have another man by your side? What the heck, Blanca? What the hell is this piece of mail? What are these test results?
Oh, so those finally showed up at your place then. Well, when I was unpacking all my things after moving into my new place, I happened to find that at the bottom of one of my boxes. It must have gotten in there by accident, so I'm sorry for keeping you both waiting on the news. But that's why you're only getting those results from me now.
I don't give a crap about how these got here and why. I want to know what all of this means for Aaron. What does it mean he suffers from male infertility? He told me that you're the one that suffers with that crap, not him.
And right before the two of us got divorced, we took some tests to see who was in trouble. But I got results back saying there was nothing wrong with me.
Huh? Hold on a second. That means that I'm in trouble now.
I'm the one that's got issues? Blanca, why did you never tell me all of this sooner when you got the results in?
Well, even if I wanted to tell you, we had already gotten divorced by the time I got your results, and so I didn't really care to tell you.
But back then, there was still a bunch of time before Letitia was going to have her dang baby, right?
Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't know that my sister was carrying a baby that wasn't your own at the time.
Huh?
You were the one saying that the baby was yours for sure, and telling you both that the baby wasn't yours would have caused her a lot of stress. And it's not good for the baby to stress their mother when they're still inside. Now stop talking to me, Aaron.
He's asking to get a divorce from me. We had to make sure that we weren't just tripping about him not being able to have a baby, and so we took the baby's DNA, and it of course showed that it's not his. When we learned that he couldn't give me a baby, I wanted to start thinking of ways to help fix him and all of that, but why the hell did you not tell the both of us this a whole lot sooner?
Well, when you were talking about stealing him from me, the results hadn't come out yet for the tests we took.
Seriously?
Whether you were planning on taking my husband at the time away from me or not, or whether we had been divorced yet or not, I didn't know a thing about him being 100% infertile. But I'll tell you that when we were talking before the divorce, I asked him if he wanted me to tell him the results or not of the tests when I got them, and he said he didn't care. So stop trying to act as though I was trying to set you both up or anything like that, because I tried to help you both.
For crying out loud! It seems that my ex-boyfriend has found out about all of this now, and he keeps blowing up my phone about wanting me to test and see if he's the father.
Is that right?
No matter what I try and do now, this is all screwed the frick up.
Blanca, how about the two of us get remarried? After hearing that you were able to have a baby now, I guess I can't complain anymore about you, so I think it'd be fine being back together with you and all that. And I get that I can't give you a baby, but hey, at least now we don't have to worry about protection in bed, right? Well, I'm totally alright with us getting things cooking again. And I'm sure you are too. I'm going to start filling out our marriage forms and we'll be over at your place really soon. I can't wait for you to be my wife again. I can't believe it, Blanca. I heard from a friend of mine. You've gotten married to another man now. Please tell me you're at your new place now waiting for me to show up, okay? You still love me and want me to be your husband again, right? Blanca. Blanca, what is going on here? I just went to the apartment that you and I have been living in together. And when I went and knocked on the door for you to let me in, a couple that I've never seen before opened the dang door up. When I asked the landlord what happened to you, she said the day after you and I got divorced, you moved out of the apartment with all of your things. When you do something as important as that, you have to tell me those things, okay? I even heard from your sister that you never go back to your parents' house. So where the hell have you run off to?
I had totally forgotten that I turned all of the notifications from Aaron off, and so the whole time he was texting me, I never saw a thing. But it's been a week now since his last text, and I have to say I think he's given up on trying to get me to come back. Now to start things off with what happened afterwards, the baby that my sister ended up having turned out to be the baby of a man she used to be engaged to before going to Aaron. Letitia tried to go back to him, asking for the two of them to get back together, but that didn't work. And somewhere along the way, her ex ended up getting custody of the baby and taking it away from her. So for the kid's sake, that's a huge win right there. Anyway, after what happened to her, she went back to her old ways of stealing men from other women, and one day wound up with a man who's in serious debt. As of right now, no one is really sure what happened to her and that man, but they're off the grid now. As for my ex, Aaron, being divorced for a second time due to the fact that the baby was never his and that he couldn't handle the pain of being infertile, he became super depressed and stopped going out and to work. He was later fired from that job and is now having to deal with all sorts of costly things like not being able to pay for his house and having to pay a settlement to Letitia after getting that divorce. So all I can really say about him now is that he's struggling to swim out of the deep end of life.
Hey, Lexi!
Hey, Cameron. Hey, where did you go off to without telling me? I've said before that I want you telling me what you're doing when it gets late out.
I'm sorry. On my way home from work, my mom called me asking for me to come over and plan out a vacation with her.
A vacation?
Turns out that I'll be going with my mom to Hawaii for New Year's as a small trip.
Are you serious?
We plan to only be there for a week or so. So you don't have to get too surprised by this one. At first, it was going to be my mom and dad going to Hawaii together for that week. But now that dad's bedridden from his sickness, she's asked for me to go with her instead.
Wait! Why would you guys still plan to go to Hawaii with everything else going on?
What do you mean? Lots of people go on vacation during the New Year's, right? You think we're just joking?
You guys are still planning to go on that trip that your dad was supposed to go on? While he's in the hospital, unresponsive because of his condition? At that point, people would normally just cancel the trip and stay home around their family.
But if we were to cancel this whole vacation now, we'd be left having to pay a boatload in cancellation fees to all the hotels and restaurants. So, instead of having to deal with that, I think it's better that I go in Dad's place, and then we won't need to worry about money, right?
But if you've started to think about the condition that your dad is in, you shouldn't have the mindset to go to Hawaii, right?
You think so? I never thought I had to dwell on the thought of my dad being in the hospital that much. My dad won't even know we're gone because he's not even well enough to be awake. And he won't be for a long time, the doctor said. So there's really no point in us being home to go see him if he's not even going to be awake to say anything. I think now's the perfect time that my mom and I go out and do what we want since we don't have to be held down by him.
This isn't about seeing him all the time, but the fact that you should be worried about him more than some trip to Hawaii. If I were you or your mom, I wouldn't care about having to pay a little or canceling and would stay here to be with my dad.
Well, it doesn't matter what you do, because you're not even coming with us.
You both really plan on going still. I have no idea how you have the nerve to do that right now.
Oh, come on, Lexi. This is one of the things that always drives me up the wall with you. How you always act like you're so right about everything.
Uh-huh.
No matter how you try and make me feel bad about my choice, I'm going to Hawaii. Tonight I'll be home to get my things together. And then I'm heading back to my parents' place to stay until the trip. Don't even try stopping me anymore.
Wait.
No!
What the heck, Cameron?
Alright, I'm getting on the plane right now.
So you both really are leaving?
It's my job as my mom's son to be here for her when she wants to go out and do something.
That's weird though, considering her husband is in the hospital in really bad shape right now. I wonder what's going on inside her head right now.
You're starting to get on my nerves here, Lexi.
I'm just going to tell you this one last thing then. If your dad does end up waking up during the time that you're both away, I'm going to have to tell him everything that's going on with his wife and his son, okay?
Go right ahead. I know for a fact he's not waking up while we're gone. Well, even if he does wake up, he'll at least have you there to care for him. And make sure you don't wander off, leaving him without any family, alright? So, with that, I'll be back in a week.
I guess we'll just have to see what happens then.
Lexi, Happy New Year!
Wait, David, Happy New Year! How has your body been doing after being asleep for so long?
Well, I'm still working out a lot of the kinks, but I have to say that all the hospital food actually tastes pretty good after not eating for so long. And I'm really looking forward to getting even better.
That's so amazing to hear.
By the way, something tells me that both Cameron and Lucy ended up still going to Hawaii then?
Yeah. Cameron ended up taking your place and going with your wife. They left yesterday.
I see.
I'm sorry that I couldn't stop them. I told them over and over again not to go while you were in the hospital. But they never listened to me. They never even bothered to come see you in the hospital after you were taken in by the ambulance.
That's all right, Lexi. I was the one that told my wife not to push herself to come see me if I ended up slipping into a coma. So she had every right to have gone away for a bit expecting that I wasn't going to wake up. I'm sure she just remembered that I said that, and so she didn't mean any harm by leaving to Hawaii still with Cameron.
Then I suppose that I wasn't going to change their minds after all.
Well, even if I hadn't said that to her, I doubt she would have stayed. I remember after being helped from the car accident by your family and you, that my wife had already been pretty reluctant to come see me because me being so badly hurt and sick would ruin the trip. Of course, a small part of me wanted to tell her to stay by my side as I was in the hospital, but she was very excited for the trip, and so I never had it in me to change her either.
David.
I'm sorry that I've told you all this, but I thought it'd be best that you knew what was going on.
Thank you.
But there is a reason for them wanting to be away on this trip. And I think you should be ready to understand what I mean by that.
I see. Well, for the time being, I will prepare myself for what's next and to help you.
Thank you, Lexi.
Lexi? Tomorrow my mom and I will be coming back, so can you come get us from the airport?
Uh-huh. You want me to come all the way there? Don't you realize that the airport is a couple hours away from our place? Why not just take the bus back to our place from there? Or at least get an Uber or something to go home in?
Well, we have a lot of things with us. You're my wife, so you have to listen to everything my mom and I ask for.
Well, before we continue with this, your dad woke up.
Really?
When I was going to go and see him, he had woken up and started talking to me.
Are you serious about that?
He says that he has enough energy to text you guys, so I'll let him handle this.
He can't really be awake already, right? You're lying, right?
Cam,
Hi, Dad.
did you have a good time in Hawaii? I know that you went there in my place, right?
Right. Well, we went to all sorts of beaches and stayed at a few really nice resorts. Even went out and tried surfing for the first time in my life.
I see. I'm sure it was a great time, leaving your dad who was in a coma behind, so that you could go out to Hawaii, huh? You both are coming home tomorrow, I hear? I'd make sure that you enjoy whatever time you have left there before having to come back and see me, okay?
Hey, Dad.
Well, I guess I should get things started then.
What are you going to get started? I'm sure you're just really happy to see us again, right? Maybe there'll be some sort of surprise for us when we get home, right?
Just make sure to let your mom know that she needs to be prepared for what comes next.
Dad? Maybe you're less happy and more mad then? Hey, Lexi! What is this? Why is there a divorce form?
So you've made it back home now? Hope you made it back okay.
But what is going on with this divorce form laying on the counter?
Well, about you, Cameron. You were in Hawaii with another woman, correct?
Why do you say that?
Well, your dad started to look into your mom about her cheating, and lo and behold, you ended up being with another woman as well. And then once your dad found out about that, he told me.
What? So you know about Mom as well then?
That's right, we both do. We both figured that you guys really continued with that trip, not because you didn't want to pay any cancellation fees, but because you both were going to have an affair, correct? I hope you both had fun at least.
No, hold up. If you really think about this, things don't seem to add up, right? Do you really think my dad could have done all of that when he was in a coma for so long?
Well, he told me that he's been looking into your mom for over half a year now. That's before he ever got into that accident, Cameron. And your dad has actually been awake for a month now. Did you know that?
What?
Of course not. Because neither you or your mom ever came to see him. When I started going to the hospital to help care for him, he opened his eyes.
What? You hid that from both my mom and I?
Well, when he asked me where the two of you were, I told him that they didn't plan to come see you. And so he told me everything and asked that I keep my mouth shut about it.
Why though?
Well, your dad was a little upset about the fact that neither of you two wanted to be around him when he was in his time of need.
But why would he never tell us that he was at least awake?
Cameron, your dad knows that you aren't actually his son.
What?
I never really knew that you weren't your dad's real son, And David didn't really know either until he started looking deeper into things. But now he knows that the man that your mom went to see in Hawaii is actually your real dad. So really, this whole trip was going to be both your real parents, you, and then that woman you wanted to cheat on me with, correct? I'm not sure why I say that like it didn't end up happening, because you guys did see them and enjoy your time in Hawaii with them.
You know all about that now. Dang it.
I'm sure that your mom will soon be finding the divorce paperwork that I've placed in her living room for her to find.
Huh?
Your dad asked me to help him place it there while he stayed in his hospital bed.
Are you kidding me?
That's right. David has gone ahead and changed to a new hospital, so if either of you try to come and talk to him, you'll find that you're both too late.
Where did he go to, Lexi?
Well, I'm not sure about where myself.
Why don't you know? Out of all the things that he decided to tell you about, he never mentioned the next hospital he'd be going to?
Well, he realized once you both came back from Hawaii, he wouldn't want anything to do with you guys. The last time I spoke with him was yesterday. And then after that, we decided not to talk to one another anymore. So I haven't heard anything else from him since. And in the case of David, he doesn't know where I am currently either. I think if you want to find anything else about David's whereabouts, perhaps you'll have some luck talking to his lawyer when he starts talking with your mom about all of this.
He even got a lawyer involved in this?
Well, why the heck wouldn't he be, Cameron? As a matter of fact, I'm also going to be getting a lawyer soon. So when that happens, you'll be hearing from them instead of me, okay?
You're getting one as well?
There's some information and a few business cards with those divorce papers you found, right? Those will be the lawyers I plan to get involved with to help me see all this through.
Hey, can we at least talk this over a bit more in person? You've been married for 3 years now, so you have to have the heart to want to talk things through, right?
We've been married for 3 years, yet you choose to cheat on me. What made you think that was an okay thing to do when you should have the heart to talk to me? And also, even though he was never your father and never knew that, he raised you all the way to the point you're at now, and learned recently that you aren't his, and his wife has been cheating on him all this time. Imagine being in his shoes, and having to feel all the emotions he's having now, just trying to deal with all of this, especially after an accident that left him in a coma. Honestly, I might have stayed to talk things through with you over cheating on me, but what really pissed me off was you just leaving your dad in the hospital while he was dealing with all of this to go to Hawaii with your cheating mom. So me leaving you is justified, right?
But, Lexi...
Don't say my name anymore, okay? I've got to get going now.
Huh?
Make sure that I get all of the money I asked for in the settlement, okay? Please and thank you.
What? I still really do think of you as my real father. And what happened with me and going to Hawaii and while I was there,
Perfect timing. I want you to tell this to your mom from me as well. I'm not going to change my mind about the divorce. And as for me and you, Cam, I'm planning on cutting all ties I have to you.
What?
And right now, I'm getting myself a new phone and a new number. so neither you or your mom will ever be able to find me or contact me ever again. Then, once you're never able to talk with me or see me again, you'll have to go through my lawyer, who is looking forward to talking with you both.
But, Dad...
I need to get back to getting my new phone now.
Dad, please!
To start, David had a long talk with his lawyer about how he wanted both his wife and his son to be taken out of his will, as well as for both of them to get nothing from him in the divorce. When this was brought up to both Cameron and Lucy, neither of them wanted to agree to what David was asking, and tried begging for him to rethink what he had planned to do to them. Of course he didn't budge, and so Lucy signed the document first, followed by Cameron doing the same with huge reluctance. And then, instead of taking any settlement from Cameron and Lucy, he only asked that Cameron's real dad pay him. In my case, I went and had a settlement made for both Cameron and the woman that he cheated on me with. Once they had both paid the money that I had asked for, they were left with the realization that I just took $15,000 from the both of them, and that things were going to become much harder. Cameron ended up leaving his job due to all the stress, and returned back to his mom and real dad with his new girlfriend, where they all started to live together with very little money to their name. Now, the only person that seems to be working any sort of job is the real father, and he is left with himself and 3 people that he'll have to start trying to care for.